Hi, I'm Jim Gustafson. I'm the chair of the Tompkins County Democratic Committee here in Tompkins County. And I want to speak to you from the bottom of my heart today, some 40 days before the election. We all knew this was the most important election in our lifetimes. And I know that gets said every 4 years, and every election's important. I was listening to an historian today on one of the news shows, Douglas Brinkley, talk about what year compared in his mind to this year. And he mentioned 1968, which interestingly and ironically is the first election I ever got to vote in. It was the height of the Vietnam War. George Wallace was running a racist campaign. Martin Luther King and Robert Kennedy were assassinated. There were riots at the Democratic National Convention that August. It was a hell of a year. But he said, and I agree with him, having lived through both, that this election this year is even more critical. And now, with the passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg on Friday, we've added a whole nother level of seriousness. So I'm asking you to get involved. This is a time for us all to step up. This is not just a time to leave it to people like myself who you figure, well, they just like to do politics, so they'll take care of that. This is a time for everybody who cares about the future of the country and is unhappy and frustrated and angry and anxious and upset about what Donald Trump and the Republicans have been doing to us for the last 4 years. It's time to do whatever you can. And let me just describe to you a couple things that you can do. And you'll find links for all these things on this Facebook page where you're looking at this video. The most important thing you can do is to make calls to fellow Democrats and friendly independents in the swing states, the states that make a difference. Stop and think about the fact that in 2016, Trump won Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin by something around 80,000 votes. We in Tompkins County by ourselves, with our 2,000 members and volunteers, could make thousands of calls into those swing states and help get out the vote in those states and make a real difference. You know, one of the things you need to remember is in most elections, only about 60% of the voters turn out. So that includes Democrats as well as Republicans. And so if you make calls and you get more Democrats out to vote, that makes a huge difference. It's not hard. It's not painful. We're not calling Trump voters and trying to change their minds. These are Democrats you're trying to call to get out to vote. At the very least, you can also get a hold of your own friends and family, people that you know support the same values that you have, and make sure they have a plan to vote. Make sure they're going to come out to vote. Furthermore, if you like texting, you find a link on this same site to be able to join in and do some texting. We're sending millions of texts, and for those of you who love doing that, it's quite satisfying and gratifying. And then we're going to have the opportunity to send postcards, both for the Biden campaign, and we're going to be able to do all these things also, calling and texting and postcards for our local candidates who are very important to us as well. Tracy Vetrano for Congress, Leslie Danks Burke and Jim Barber for the New York State Senate, and Anna Kellis here in our Assembly District, who will be a wonderful follow-up to Barbara Lifton's long and successful career. So I'm asking you to please stop and think for a minute, 40 days before the election, what can you do? What are you willing to do? And then go to the links on this Facebook page and step up and get involved. We cannot afford to leave anything on the field, to use an overworked sports metaphor.